President Donald Trump's military campaign against Iran, voting to block a bipartisan resolution aiming to stop the air war and require that any hostilities against Iran be authorized by Congress. As voting continued, the tally in the 100-member chamber was 52 to 47 not to advance the war powers resolution. Susan, what more can you tell us about this?
Yeah, this was a resolution that was dead on arrival. First of all, because the Republicans have a majority. And second of all, because historically, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, lawmakers really don't like voting on these kind of resolutions because whatever they say will be on record forever and can be used against them at any time. You can think of Hillary Clinton, for example, when she authorized the Iraq invasion and how that turned out for her. It was hanging over her head like a dark cloud for years to come. And also because it was dead on arrival, not just because of the Republican majority, but because the Senate is also a majority Republican. And also when it comes to this War Resolutions Act, what's interesting is that all presidents since it was established, which was in 1973 after the Vietnam War, all presidents have opposed it. And presidents themselves, usually when they're in office, Republican or Democrat, they consider it to not be part of law. They go with the Constitution usually. And the president in this law as well has veto power. So let's just say it would have passed the House and the Senate, but the president could ultimately override it with a veto.
Susan, we know that the resolution would force a withdrawal of U.S. forces unless Congress formally authorizes the war. And since you've given us the update, as the resolution has failed to advance, does it now give the White House a freer hand to escalate its military approach?
Yeah, absolutely. Because under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, the president is the commander-in-chief. And while it does, the Constitution also said that Congress is the one who can declare war. The president can override that when the White House and the executive branch believes that there is an imminent danger. And that's what the Trump administration has been trying to argue in the past few days. So, it does give the president authority to continue with his operations in Iran, but it doesn't mean that the Senate and Capitol Hill in general don't have other tools in their toolbox. They will probably put forth other means and other resolutions where they will be voting on, and some that don't want this war to continue will hope that that can get through. But like I said, it's very unlikely. Remember, we are dealing with a majority, although very slim, Republican party right now.
Yes, Susan, now Democrats say that the president sidelined lawmakers, and on the other hand, Republicans argue that the commander-in-chief needs room to act. So with midterm politics already looming, how much are electoral calculations shaping the positions inside Congress right now?
Yeah, that's very important. And while everyone has their eyes on the midterm, I will be honest with you, this war has not hit mainstream yet, mainstream America. First of all, because gasoline prices have not been affected. Democrats want to make the argument that the longer this drags on, it's going to affect oil prices. But the issue right now is America is producing enough oil to offset very high oil prices. And on the other hand, despite the fact that oil prices did jump significantly, they were at an all-time low before the war started, significantly lower, at least in the past few years. It was $60 a barrel. For example, before there was a fear that it would jump up to over $100 a barrel. That has not happened. It has not happened yet. And gas prices and American pocketbooks haven't been affected yet. But I will say that the White House, time is of essence right now, because the longer this drags on, the more mainstream it becomes, the more questions the American public start asking, And especially with that tragedy of losing American forces, if more forces are lost, then that's going to affect the hearts and minds of the American public. And I will say that America, no matter how much authority the president has, America cannot sustain an operation or a war without the support of the American public, especially in a midterm year.